And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, Codenames is a very popular game. I know this because they've sold 400,000 as of the recording of this video, and that has been only 8 months. Folks, that is phenomenal. Very few games reach that kind of level of popularity. One of the most popular party games ever designed. So of course, they're going to come out with sequels. Here we have Codenames Pictures. Now, I do want to make clear, I'm taking a look at Codenames Pictures here. If you've never played Codenames before, that's fine. I'm going to explain how to play it in just a moment, and you can skip that part if you've already played Codenames, because essentially, this is Codenames with pictures. But this copy that I have here is like a beta copy. So the cards in the actual final one will be double-sided. The artwork is final, and the rules are final. It's pretty much almost finished, the copy I'm about to show you, but there will be some minor changes when we get to the final release copy, which is coming out very soon. Anyhow, with all that being said, let's take a look at it. In Codenames Pictures, you're going to place out a grid of cards in a 4x5 pattern. Everyone's going to be split into two teams, and each team is going to choose a clue giver. Those clue givers are going to draw a card from a deck and all these different cards. Now these cards are going to show red and blue. The two teams are red and blue. And on the card, it shows you the clues that you are trying to give your team are going to match. It shows in the grid here, so you can see that each card has double use because you can flip it either way. It shows the neutral cards, though, and then it shows the assassin card, or the major spy card. You don't want to get that one. The outside of the card shows who goes first. Each player is going to get a pile of tiles matching the number they have on here. The team that goes first has one extra tile. So this tile here is actually double-sided, and it goes to the team that goes first. On your turn, you are going to give a clue, a one-word clue about the card. So let's say I'm the red player, and I'm looking here at these. So I'm trying to get people to guess this samurai playing tennis, or this lamb here. I'm trying to get them to do Rubik's Cube with the paintbrush. This robot here. I'm trying to get them to get the tent and the teddy bear, and over here the seahorse. I definitely don't want someone guessing this iron moving down the road. So I'm going to give a one-word clue. So I might say Warrior 2. That means there's two cards that I think match Warrior. Now, hopefully in this case, it's pretty simple, but my teammates are going to talk it over, and they might say, well, that guy's definitely a Warrior. And then they point to it. When they touch it, I say yes or no. If it's mine, I put my own color on it. Now, this is my other Warrior, but let's say they say, oh, this guy's a Warrior who's been wounded. And they pick him. I look here. Oh, you picked one of the opponents, so we're going to put one of their colors on it, and our turn's over. If this had been the one they picked first, the turn would be immediately over. They can also pick less. They might pick that one, and they might say, I think we have enough. We're not really ready to guess another one. Because if you guess a neutral one, no problem. But if you guess the master spy or assassin, you instantly lose the game. You definitely don't want that to happen. And so players are going to guess. And you can give out one-word clues, but the problem is then it's the other person's turn. And if you're only giving out one card clues, that can be very simple. Maybe I might say delicious 1. Well, there's only one thing on here that's delicious, and that's the cake, because we all know bananas and ice is not delicious. Or whatever, you can give out single clues, but the other team will get ahead of you if they do 2 clues. You can even do 3 or 4. Now, your team can pick one more than you say. So I might say sitting 2, and so they pick these 2, and I say correct, and then they're like, oh, well, maybe this one here is sitting because earlier he said fuzzy and we didn't pick it. So you can go one more. But remember, you might give points to the other team. Now, you have to be careful about the words that you give. It has to be a one-word clue. It can't have any part you have to, there's some rules, and it's up to your team basically on how loose or strict you want to be with the rules themselves. But again, that one-word thing is pretty critical. And so you're going to go back and forth on that until one team wins, and then you pick new clue givers and you go back. Your score is basically equal to the difference of clues for the winning team from the losing team. So if we finish all ours and your opponent only got 3 of theirs, we might have a score of 4 or 5. So now, basically, this is Codenames Pictures. You're going to want to see the pictures in this set, so let's show you some of them. you've never played Codenames before, this is a really entertaining experience. Codenames itself brings in the idea of password, really. It has that kind of back and forth, and it also then has this just kind of this, the theme of it is spies, and it actually kind of has that as you're trying to think of a clue that gets as many cards as possible, but does not mess with the other cards. So you're sitting there and you're thinking, okay, I can say this word and it refers to this card, and this card. Oh, that card might be considered. No, I don't want to do that. So you're trying to think of really clever clues. And I've seen some really neat clues. Sometimes they're inside information that players might have. Like I might say Vienna and you're like, oh, that's right. We were in Vienna and I saw this and this there. So there's things like that. And that's a very entertaining way. I personally prefer to play this with teams of 2 because it's a much more thoughtful, thinky experience, but it also works well with groups because the group is discussing out loud, well, he said this, and he might mean this, and they go back and forth, and that can be really entertaining, and I think most people actually enjoy it with bigger groups of people. But it's just a fun game, and you can play it, and it's one of those games that you don't play just one time, you just keep going over and over and over again, switching the guessers. Now, for those of you who played the word game and the picture game, what's the difference? Well, you'll notice that the grid was smaller. It's a 4x5. The original grid was 5x5. I suppose you could pull the cards from the original Codenames if you have it and play with a 5x5 grid. That's fine. But I actually prefer the 4x5 grid because when you get one wrong in the 4x5 grid, you are likely helping the opponent's team out. It's a slight bit faster. The pictures were deliberately chosen. Each picture shows 2 different things. So like this one here that I'm looking at shows a donut with a space shuttle coming out. There's 2 things pretty much in every card. The cards are very abstracted. There's no color on them deliberately because they don't want you using colors as a simple clue. As it is, in my group, I might ban shapes because shapes can be kind of a clue that's used consistently, like circle, and there's a lot of clues out there that are round, and sometimes that, to me, gets too easy. In fact, it should be pointed out that I found the picture one easier. Now that just may be how my brain works. I've heard that they did tests on it. About 50% of people prefer with pictures, and 50, or maybe with 60% pictures and 40% words. But there's certainly some people who are going to like the words better, and some people are going to like the pictures better. I'll tell you this: I love the pictures better. I don't ever want to play with the words again. The words are fine, and it was a great game. But I love the idea of pictures. Now, the pictures are interesting because they all have arrows in the corner, so you know which way to put them all. Well, if you're looking at them upside down, that can be kind of confusing. Sometimes you'll think a picture is, multiple times people have thought a picture was one thing, and it was really something else. And you can't really discuss it and say, okay, before we start, what is this picture? Because that's kind of giving away information. But I really enjoy this game. It's fast, it's simple, it's going to sell a ton of copies just like Codenames did, I'm sure. Do you need to own this and the original? Perhaps. I would maybe try to stick them both in one box. Actually, that is maybe what I will do. Because, sometimes people want to play with words. Ooh, or maybe you can mix words and pictures. That would be intriguing. I'll have to try that. But as it is, I think they did a great job in the artwork. This is super fun. I love it a lot. Codenames Pictures. Dice Tower Judgment. Excellent!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.